questions, get your feedback on stuff, and just share what I've been doing on the blog, on the YouTube channel, on my podcast, on Instagram, all these different places. So coming from a few different places, if you're up there, you're on YouTube, or you're in the Facebook community, hello. If you're, just say hello. It's always good to know that you're around, so I know the tech is working all okay. And if you're here, hello, then you're on Instagram as well. So loads of places you can connect with me. Generally how I tend to kind of get these ones to work, I'll talk, plenty I can talk about. I can always prattle on, but if there's specific things you do want to ask me, please do just chip in with that. But you're also very, very welcome just to lurk as well. Yeah, that's fine. Just sit around and see what other people are asking, see what other things that I've got to say. I've got some questions that people have sent in advance as well on Instagram and from the blog, so we can go to those as well if we need to. We've got one here, first of all, on YouTube from Chris, who said, "Hi Andy, thanks for the Halifax debit card Amex payoff eye opener from last week." Yeah, so I think I was mentioning this last week about the way that you can get the £5 reward from the Halifax account if you are, there's two ways you can do it. You could put £5,000, which is a lot of money, in there and have it in there every single day, all the time. And if you don't touch it, don't let it drop below £5,000, you get a £5 reward. Or you can put £500 on your debit card. The problem with that for a lot of people, if you're like me, like I know a lot of you guys are, that you're putting most of your spending on cashback credit cards. So you don't have to, so you earn the cashback. So if you switch over to use the debit card for Halifax for your payments, then what are you going to do? So the hack that I shared last week, you can use your Halifax debit card to pay off your American Express or other cashback credit card, whatever you've got, by £500. So you're getting double the bonus, which is fantastic. All right, so that's a great win. And interestingly, one of the videos and articles that I've done this week, in fact, the article is actually an article that I've done this week, is about a new bank switching bonus from Halifax for that bank, the rewards account. And a few people have come back with some interesting stuff there. Let me just check this here. So I need to double check this as well, but this was from Jordan, who commented on the article on the blog. And he's asked, would it work if he topped up his Monzo, Revolu, Starling accounts with a debit card? Because they all offer the option to do so and assume they'd work the same way as a credit card payment. And I think there's something in this as well. It's potential. So if you don't have the credit card enough on there to pay it off, which you might not do, particularly obviously right now with the spending, the way things have been going on, that might be a possibility. And I was thinking about this yesterday as well, because Chip, the savings app, the account that I had linked to that was an old TSB account, which doesn't exist anymore. So I had to get that disconnected so I could put a new card on. And I put my Starling one on and I transferred some money across, and you transfer it over via your debit card as well. So I think there's something in this as well. And I'm going to have to wait until the start of the next month. But in the Halifax Rewards app, if you have this, you can go into the account, hit a little menu, and it will pop up with your Halifax Rewards. It tracks it and it tells you your progress. Are you going to get it this month? There's obviously a few things you need to do. £1,500 needs to be paid into the account, and you need to, that will clear the fee as well. And you have to spend £500 a debit card. So I've done that already for this month. It tells me I've done that. At the start of next month, what I'll do is I will put, I don't know, 100 quid into Chip, 100 quid onto Revolu, 100 quid onto Starling, whatever it is. Try all those different options and it will tell me if it tracks or not. So I will update you on that next week. But there could be another way around it if you don't have the balance on your credit card. Because obviously if you're transferring money into a savings account, you can transfer it straight back. Again, there's no limit there. A quick hello to some of the people on Instagram. Hello to Letter Safari, Property with Jag, MNL Drop, and Sam. Hi guys, lovely to have you here. Any questions, just ask them, or you can lurk. And again, we've got loads more coming through on YouTube and Facebook actually. So let's pop back to those ones. Yassine Hussein has asked, what's the best established bank? I mean, that's a difficult question in lots of ways, because what do you mean by best and what do you mean by established? Are you saying that you're not sure about some of the new challenger banks, the new startup banks such as Monzo and Starling? And some people are worried about that. Now, they are fully regulated, so any money you've got in them will be protected if they were to go under. I think Starling's going great guns. Monzo, we know, is struggling, but hopefully, it will be okay. So if something was to go wrong, the bank was to go bust, as long as you've got less than £85,000 in there, it's protected. So don't let that put you off using one of those banks, because they have so many different advantages. Recent article and video you can check out, which goes into a lot of detail about the different banking apps, and they are undoubtedly some of the best ones. They just make your life so much easier. But then in terms of what is the best, well, what are you after? Because if you want an overdraft, then the best account is Nationwide Flex Direct, because you can get a 12-month 0% overdraft of a decent sum. So if you've got an overdraft that you're trying to clear, remember, overdrafts now are generally charging you 40%, one of the most expensive debts you're going to get out there, much more than your credit cards and other things like that. So that's a great one for that. If you want to get regular perks and regular rewards, well, I really like that Halifax Rewards account we mentioned at the top. That is a great one to get some either £5 every month, so 60 quid a year, for not having to do too much inconvenience, easy money. But when the cinemas reopen, you can get one cinema ticket every single month, or 2 movie rentals every single month, and they could be worth a lot more. So it depends what you want from best. But I would say that, well, check out the articles or the videos I've got on this for more detail. But the best banks in terms of usability and functionality, Monzo and Starling. The best ones for rewards, probably Halifax Rewards, Club Lloyds possibly as well, and maybe Santander 123 Lite for cashback on your bills. For overdraft, Nationwide. Ethically, if you want something with an ethical bank, then of the kind of main ones, I know it's a building society, but Nationwide as well, and that also is great for overdraft as well. Lots of factors there. Hopefully that was useful. Hello also to Funding Her Freedom on Instagram. Hello there. Who else we've got over on YouTube? Kai Dark, Andrew, Lowell Rasta, David, another David, Maz, Abdallah, Kian. Great to have you guys. I will come through to your questions now. So where were we? Let's go from the top. Kai Darky81 has said, I have 2 questions for you. Let's go with the first one then. Recently switched to First Direct and put £1,000 in. Will I still be eligible for the £100 leaving bonus? And if so, how soon after leaving the switch bonus can I leave? Okay, so this is slightly more complicated because First Direct have changed the promotion. So you obviously did that when they were offering you £100 to leave. They're now offering you £100 to switch in. So the way the old one worked, and I would double check it with First Direct, get on the phone with them, just chat with them. But my feeling on this is that, well, I know for a fact you have to leave after 6 months and before 12 months to get that £100 goodbye offer. So you've got to be in there 6 months before you can get that. The £1,000 that you put in, you just have to put it in. It doesn't need to stay there. And that counts for the new offer as well. You just need to have paid £1,000 in. As long as you've done that and meet any other criteria that might be listed on the switching account, obviously closing the old account as part of a switch is always part of that, then you're eligible for that. So I hope that has helped you on that one, Kodaki. Come back to me if that's not quite the right. We've got Adam Voller. Hello, Adam. We've got Louise and we've got Uncle Johnny on Instagram, guys. Nice to have you there. Adam is a very, very old school friend of mine. He's probably not sure what he's jumped into. Right, what was the next question? Andrew Ayers says, hi mate, great work as always. Thank you very much. Opened a 123 Lite account, so now making money on Club Lloyds, Halifax, RBS, and NatWest. Also opened the Nationwide Help to Save. That's great. You've got loads of different accounts going there, and I assume you sort of saw my video or my article taking you through how to get these extra direct debits, how to channel the money around, different ways you can do it, but to make that a lot easier. One of the things that did pop up off the back of that video, and some people asked that in the comments, was what's the impact on your credit score of opening these accounts? And I think I've probably covered it in one of these Q&As before. Obviously, every time you open up a current account which has an overdraft facility that's offering you or potentially offering to you, in fact, the only banks that won't do a hard credit check are Monzo and Starling, unless you go for an overdraft. So all the other accounts, you open them up, you apply for them. If you're accepted or not, there's a credit check. And that can have a little impact on your credit rating, your credit report. Now, it's a small one and it will recover quite quickly, more or less. So it shouldn't be an issue unless you've got, in the next sort of 3-4 months, like a big application for something. The other thing to bear in mind with switching banks is the old account that you've got that you're switching across, that has history, that has longevity, and that is quite important for credit reports because they like to see the average age of all your accounts, because the longer you've been with someone suggests some kind of stability. So they kind of look for that. So if you are switching away an old account, one you've had for 10, 15 years maybe, or even 5 years, that obviously reduces that. And that's why I always suggest, if you're up for it, to have a spare account that you use for switching. So you've still got your normal ones that you've had for a long time. You switch. This switching account doesn't really make a difference because you're not really impacting that length that you've had all your different accounts. So that's worth thinking about there. David has asked on YouTube, I asked about the Marcus savings account last week. Have opened an account. Thanks, Andy, for your advice. That's no problem at all, David. Remember, that's 0.4%. It is variable. It could drop down, but it is easy access. Interestingly, also this week, Marcus has released an ISA paying 0.4%, a cash ISA, easy access. Now you can't transfer money into this. It is just for putting money into, but if you are someone who needs a cash ISA, and not many people will need this, but sometimes people might want that for various reasons. There could be a higher or additional rate taxpayer, which really either reduces or completely gets rid of their tax-free personal savings allowance. Then you might want to look at a cash ISA, or you might be sort of wanting to kind of keep that tax wrapper kind of for future years if you're worried about other things happening. But yeah, well, great, it's great. I hope you're happy with that account, Marcus. So quick hello as well. Weekend Bakery, The Life and Times of Barb, Angelica, nice, or is it Angela? Sorry, Angela on Instagram. Hello guys. Remember, got a question? Just ask me. No problem at all. Just lurking is absolutely fine as well. And on YouTube, a few more people say hello to Richard, Hannah. I will come back to your questions in a minute, just working my way across from these ones. So where are we next? So David has asked, another David, different one. Hi Andy, if I switch to Halifax Rewards using my TSB Spend and Save account, which I opened recently, will I lose my cash back from Quidco due to be paid in October? Thank you, keep up the good advice. Right, so I'd have to double check the terms and conditions on the Quidco page. For those of you who aren't aware of this, this is a great way to get a new account, which once you've got the offer and the money, you can use as your switching account. So it's kind of one for nothing really. TSB does not have a switching offer, but it does have an opening cashback offer via Quidco. So you open the account and you can get normally around 30 quid. Sometimes they hike it up to 40, 50, sometimes even 60 quid. There's also a newer premium Spend and Save Plus, I think it's called, which can get you a little bit more money. But there are two parts of this. There's the cashback you can get with a Spend and Save card itself, which I think is a joke. You've got to spend, use your debit card 30 times in a month. If we weren't in lockdown, then that would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? We'd be able to maybe spend more often with our card. But the fact is right now, I'm lucky if I spend on any kind of card 5 times in a month, let alone 30. Just not doing it. Supermarket shopping, that's pretty much it. Okay, that could change. But anyway, that part of it is a joke. Ignore that. This is just to get back getting that cash back from Quidco. And there are some terms and conditions, David. So I don't have them in front of me right now. It'd probably be a bit distracting if I try and open them up. As long as you have met those ones, and there is a certain thing about how many months you have to have it open, the account. Let's see if I can get it up. Then you should be fine, because it's about that longevity after a certain amount of time. Let me see if I can quickly get this up for you, because this could be useful for other people as well. Again, with any offer, right? I know I'm telling you stuff, I'm giving you some information, and I'm sort of suggesting what you could and can't do. Always read the terms and conditions with the offer, just in case something has changed since I told you about it or wrote about it, or just in case there's a factor in there which might impact you. Or sometimes I'm just giving you a headline, something like this. I'm not going into details, so always check that. So here we go. David, got your answer here. You have to keep your account open for at least 120 days. So that's one of the conditions. In 3 of the first calendar months, you need to have paid in £500 and made 2 debit payments from the card, not direct debits, 2 debit payments. So David, if you've had that account for at least 120 days and you've fulfilled that other criteria, you can switch away. There's no problem with that at all. So this one's from Maz. How does FSCS work? This is Financial Services Compensation Scheme. Is it 85k per person per account? What if you have multiple accounts with one bank? So this is what I mentioned before about protection if you were worried about maybe digital banks, but this applies to anything which is protected by Financial Services Compensation Scheme. So look out for that little logo, the little wording, FSCS, really, really important. So that 85k is per account that you have, but it's per financial institution. Now, most of the time that's not a problem because a lot of banks, they're just that bank and you've got your money in that account with them. Now, if you have more than one account with that same bank, then that all adds up to that 85k. So let's say you had 2 accounts with Barclays. Then if you had 50,000, imagine that, £50,000 in a Barclays account in one, and £50,000 in another Barclays account, then that would add up to £100,000. If Barclays went under, you would not get anything. You wouldn't get that 15k back, just 85k back. Okay? That's the limit. Some financial institutions, and this is worth checking out, Money Saving Expert has a really good little tool for this as well, so you can check what this is. Some banks are linked and they work in different ways. So off the top of my head, I can't quite recall which ones are which, but for example, First Direct and HSBC and M&S Bank, although they're closing down their current accounts, they're all part of the same, they're all HSBC, and I'm pretty sure they are linked. So HSBC and First Direct, I think that 85k is shared across those. Halifax and Lloyd's are linked, but I think they count as separate financial institutions, so you could have the money in both. But double check that if you're worried about that, the accounts you have, just have a look. And there might be some you're not aware of, some smaller ones, particularly for savings. I know recently there's a lot of accounts we've been going through and chasing different rates. You might find that you've opened one that you've not heard of before, and that could be linked to another. So do check that. Quick hello for those of you who have just joined. We have got, I've got Gary. Hello, Gary. We've got Sarah. We've got SSV. We've got M Insta. We've got Nelson. Hello, Nelson. Hello, the Wealth Check. Hello, Frugal Kate. If you're just lurking, that's absolutely fine. But if you've got any questions, drop them in. You can ask me anything about money. You can ask me other things as well, but I might not answer. And if I can answer your question about money, then I will do that. Hello to Brad as well. Right, back to YouTube, working through these question. Abdallah says, nice shirt. Is a shirt from Amazon? No, it's not from Amazon. As you know, if you're a regular follower, you'll know that I'm doing a year without Amazon. I'm not spending any money directly with Amazon this year. It's actually been a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm actually saving money. Obviously, we're under lockdown conditions. Who knows if that will change when things breach out. But over on Instagram, hashtag year without Amazon, you can follow what I'm doing there. Lol Rasta, Andy, 2 questions. Is the bonus worth it with Chip if you only have 2K? Okay, so Chip account, I mentioned this in my most recent video update on YouTube on Tuesday, was it? Yeah, Tuesday, and obviously lots in the article. It's in the newsletter today. So Chip has a new promo that started yesterday, runs until the end of the month. If you haven't got Chip at all, you're a new customer to Chip, you sign up with a promo code. I'm sure there's quite a few out there. The one that I've got is Clever10. You sign up via that link. You get access to the Chip Plus One savings account. I mentioned this before. This pays 1.25% on interest on balances up to £10,000. Now, if you have £2,000, then you want to opt for normally the free Chip account, which won't charge you a monthly. I say monthly, it's every 28 days, which is a bit cheeky because that means they get a bit more money in the year. It's not just 12 times that payment because obviously it runs over a little bit. So you can get that, and you get the 1.25% on the first £2,000 only. Any money above that, you don't get it because you're not paying the fee. If you choose Chip AI with £1.50 every 28 days, then you can get that interest on balances of up to 10K. Now this leaves a kind of a window of about £1.50, balances between £2,000 and I think 3,600, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, where actually the fee wipes out the interest that you would have earned before that and means you're paying for the account. But if you've got less than £2,000, it's a good option. If you've got more than 3.5K, then it's a decent option. You've got to check how it compares to other accounts, but the more you've got, the better. Now, this promo for this £10 bonus, I mean, even if you're having to pay this fee, and you do have to pay the fee with this one, you're still going to get some money. So it's up to you. If you want the account, if you want to earn 1.25% on your savings, then you may as well get that £10, even if £3 or £4.50 of it might be taken away by the monthly fee. Again, there's more details on the blog on that. I could talk forever about that one if I needed to. Hello to Amit and Danny on Instagram. Danny actually is Danny Hewson, who was from BBC 5 Live, now at AG Bell, and we recorded the Cash Chats podcast this afternoon for tomorrow, Your Money This Week, looking back at the money news from the last 7 days. So make sure you don't miss that. Just search for Cash Chats in your podcasting app, or it would also be on YouTube from about noon. But the podcast will be available on all your podcasting apps from about 7 a.m. So Brad's asked, there's more a question here. I was a victim of fraud through Monzo. They refused to give it back to me, but gave me £80 as a gesture of goodwill, and also for the poor service and misinformation they've given me. Where do I stand? Well, it depends, I guess, on what the fraud was, and I guess they've taken a sense of what your liability was on that. If you feel that it's not fair, you can complain to the Financial Ombudsman. Now, the Financial Ombudsman has been inundated, I think, this year, as so many other institutions and organisations have. So I think, from memory, there's a bit of a backlog. But if you're not happy with that, I would definitely get in touch with them and just see if there's if they feel differently. But you know, fraud can happen in so many different ways. It's common that people get conned by giving their account details. You know, someone says, "Oh, I've changed." The hackers get into your email. They know you're paying, I don't know, a builder or a solicitor or someone like that, right? They know that you're transferring large sums of money, but they email as them and say, "This is me" instead. So That's unfortunate, but there are also ones where they might deem that you two have been careless. There's a lot going on there, and lots of protection, more protection is needed. So sorry, I can't give you a definite answer there, Brad, but certainly I would have a look at the Financial Ombudsman and see what they are saying. Kian's gone back to talking about the Financial Services Compensation Scheme again. Kian's asked, does that cover fraud? This basically covers the bank going under, right? This is about if the institution was to, for whatever reason, disappear, no longer operate, the government will back the money you have saved in it. That's all that is. So it's not a protection about fraud or anything. We have got, so Abdallah said, I tried to open an Amex credit card but got rejected. He doesn't own a credit card. Now, the really important thing, and I say this every time I talk about credit cards, it really is vital that you don't just apply straight out for the card. You go via an eligibility checker. Now, sometimes that's directly on the websites themselves. So you can say you can click a button. I can't remember the word. Some might say, find out if you're eligible for this card or check if you'll get accepted. You do that. If they say they won't give you the card, then you know not to apply. If you just apply straight off and you get rejected, that will impact your credit file and your credit score. So you need to be really, really careful with that. I prefer going via a comparison site. Now, they might not show you the whole market, but they will give you a few different options so you can see, if you're after, let's say you need a balance transfer credit card because you've got some debts that you need to pay off and you want to reduce the interest that you're being charged on them, you might, rather than go to one particular site and one particular card, you might see 7 or 8 different cards, and you might see which one offers you the best chance of acceptance, and you can balance that out as well against how long it's going to be at 0% for and what the fee is, and you might decide that it's better to sort of guarantee or have a better chance of getting a card, but maybe have a few months less, things like that. So I would definitely be careful with that, Abdallah. If you've never had a card before as well, you've got to think about why you want it and go through those processes. So Brad's come back on when we were talking about that fraud, and Brad says, thank you, I'll look into it. I appreciate that. They've refused to tell me how or why they came to that decision, just say third-party information. Okay, yeah, definitely look into the Financial Ombudsman there and see what the difference is. Again, hello to, we've got Fat Bob, hello Fat Bob, hello Vilesh, hello Molly Watson, nice to have you watching. Again, this is just my regular weekly Q&A, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or on Instagram. You can ask me anything about money, or you can just lurk. You're happy to lurk and just listen to what other people are asking and me answering their questions. So Kidak has come back. Remember, we talked about first direct switching bonus earlier on, about the leaving bonus. So they switched when the switching bonus started. So actually they've taken advantage of the new £100 to switch to first direct, and was wondering if the leave bonus was still there. It's not there. That has gone. Prior to the pandemic a year ago, there were both. There was £100 to switch in and £100 if you wanted to leave. Then they closed the accounts down to all new applicants for a long, long time. They came back with just the £100 goodbye. And then about, 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a bit longer than that, they came back with the £100 bonus. So you've seen us come back, asked about what's the best high street bank. We sort of covered that one earlier on. You've seen it's the high street banks. Again, it really depends what you're after. I've got lots more information for those different areas. Richard has said, had an email from Costa this morning. They are no longer accepting Amex from the 12th of May. That's really interesting. So why they're stopping to do that. There's a reason. Amex is getting accepted more and more places, and I can use it a huge amount of the time. But they operate slightly differently, and they actually charge the merchant a little bit more every time a card is used than Visa and MasterCard do. And that's why they can offer these higher cashback rates. But at the same time, that's why some merchants choose not to accept it, because they're having to pay a larger percentage. Again, we're talking a couple of percent here, maybe something like a small amount through to Amex as well. So that's interesting if Costa stopped doing that. Hopefully others won't as well. Hannah has asked, can I take money out of my regular saver and still get the interest for the time it was there for? Now, a regular saver, I talk about these quite a lot. I've got a whole article and video explaining exactly how they work, because people do get confused about these quite a bit. Essentially, with most regular savers, and they can be different, okay, so it depends who it's with. Most regular savers, you are signing up to put money into an account for 12 months. Some of them require you to put money in every single month. Others let you miss a month, and maybe let you catch up the following month, whatever it might be. But at the end of that 12 months, the account is closed, the interest is paid to you. Most of the time, that interest rate is fixed. Sometimes it's variable. So the Coventry Building Society one, that's one of the better ones right now, 1.05%, that is variable. So that could drop its rate. But the one with Club Lloyds, for example, that is 1%, and that will be fixed for 12 months from when you open it. With most of them, if you take your money out of that, you are forfeiting the interest. So that is one of the downsides of it. You're putting that money aside, but they are good if you are long-term saving for 12 months. Now, some of them might have a slightly different approach to this, but most of them don't. Most of them will only pay that interest annually. So I think the bad news there, Hannah, if you do need the money now, then I think you will lose the interest that you had put in there. So Emma has asked, what happens to your ISA if you are no longer a UK resident? Do you know what? I don't know the answer to that one. So I'll look into that one, and that's something maybe next week we can come back to. You should, yeah, I'll look into that one rather than give me my guess answer, because that might necessarily be the same thing. And Brad has asked again on Instagram, I have a help to buy ISA with £1 in it. Will it ever expire? Yes, the help to buy ISAs, I believe, are last time you can use them, I think, is 2029. I think that's the date. So after that date, you won't be able to use them to buy any property. Obviously, you can withdraw your money from a help to buy ISA without a penalty, unlike the lifetime ISA. Sticking with ISA round of questions here. There's quite a chance of that. LL has asked, hi Andy, hope you're well. What's the best cash ISA for 2021-2022? The best cash ISA is the cash ISA that pays the highest amount of interest. It's not a huge amount right now. The best ones, like this is if you want easy access. Obviously, if you want to have one that's fixed for a year, you're not going to access the money, then you might be able to get slightly better rates, or 18 months or whatever it is. There are two. One is Chartered Savings, that's paying 0.4%. And as I mentioned before, that Marcus has launched its own ISA, cash ISA, paying 0.4% as well. If you are having a cash lifetime ISA, for example, you might be able to get slightly higher rates, but then there are the conditions that are associated with that. Kian has asked, what Amex card do I have? So I don't currently have an Amex card in my name. Okay, the Amex card that me and my wife Becky have is in Becky's name, and I have a supplementary card, and we have the Amex Platinum Cashback credit card. This is the one which, excluding welcome bonuses, which is a whole different thing, pays the highest cashback on your purchases. 1% back for every £1 you spend. If you spend more than 10 grand in a year, you then get 1.25%. So we've went for that one. The reason it's in Becky's name at the moment, and it will be for at least another year, is because the welcome bonuses that you get with Amex, which can be fantastic, they can be worth, depending which card you go for, and if you're happy to switch things into Nectar points and stuff, they can be worth up to £186 in the first sort of 3 months on your spending. You can only get that if you've not had a card in your name for 2 years. So what we are doing is, I had a card, had it for a couple of years, got the bonuses where I had it for a year, did that. Then I closed that and Becky opened one up. So a year and a bit ago, whatever it is. So the card now is in her name. I've got the supplementary card. We both spend on it, but it's in Becky's name. So even though I have that card and I spend on it, it's not in my name. When I've had 2 years of me not having a card, I will open a new one, get that new welcome bonus, we'll cancel Becky's card, and then in theory, start that 2 years again. Small bit of admin, but easily worth sort of 100, 150 quid, maybe 180 quid for doing that, as long as you have things that you need to spend money on in that time. So previously we'd had it around up to Christmas or something before our wedding, so it kind of worked quite well. There were big expenses coming out. I think next year it might be around February time, when there isn't often a huge amount of money, so maybe I'll delay that a little bit later, but that's what's going on there. So Vilesh, I have a help to buy ISA with Barclays. I've not reached the max you can have with it. What I want to do now is, what I want now is, okay, can I move it to another provider, or do I have to stick with Barclays? So help to buy ISAs are closed. You can't open them up anymore. So I would say you can't transfer it to another help to buy ISA unless you have another help to buy ISA that accepts transfers in. You can transfer help to buy ISAs into lifetime ISAs if the lifetime ISA accepts transfers in. And this transfer in thing, I know some of you will know this already, but I'll just go over it again. A transfer is really important, because then it doesn't count towards your annual allowance, which is 20k for ISAs. You can do it that way potentially, but obviously there are limitations, again, the restrictions that might come in with a lifetime ISA, particularly if you're looking to move in the next 12 months. You can't move, you can't use a lifetime ISA unless you've had it for 12 months. Okay, so you want to open one up now, even with a quid, just so you've got it. Loads more questions not gone to. We really run out of time. Sorry, yeah, this has been really great questions this week, guys. Thank you so much. Naomi's asked, how do you drip feed money and how long do you have to leave it in savings account to benefit? Okay, we're doing another 5 minutes, guys, right? So let's try and get through the questions that we've got right now. So drip feeding money from savings. This is basically a very simple system, mainly involving regular savers. Because we're a regular saver, generally there's a limit how much you can put into that account every month. Now, the best paying one, which is the NatWest, or RBS Digital Saver, pays 3.04%. Brilliant, great, high rate, but only £50 every single month. So a small amount of money you can put in. Other ones might allow £100. The Nationwide Start to Save, for example, that's 50 quid or £100 you put in every month. The Club Lloyd's one, you can put 400 quid in. The Coventry Building Society one, you can put £500 in. The idea of the drip feeding the money is, if whatever rate that is, the next level down, if you've got some money in an account that pays less, so let's say you're getting 1% on your regular saver, but your money's in Marcus at 0.4%, you have the money in Marcus sitting there, and then as soon as the month starts, you have a standing order, you transfer that money into your regular saver and drip feeds into that higher interest rate, and you keep doing that. How long you need to do it for drip feeding that money into that higher paying account? Well, it's as long as you're getting the interest, really. Obviously, if you suddenly find that you can get higher amount of interest outside the regular saver, so for example, that Chip Plus One account, 1.25%, that's more than you're going to get in a regular saver, then you wouldn't drip feed anymore. You just have it in that Chip Plus One account. Hope that answered your question, Naomi. Kian has asked, out of Monzo and Starling, which one do I use the most? I use Starling the most. I've got my business account with them, and I am using it more and more now for my personal day-to-day banking. I rarely actually use bank accounts because I do most of my spending on the cashback credit card, on the Amex. So really, and most of my other stuff is automated. So the direct debits go out, the standing orders go out. I'm not necessarily doing stuff day to day, but in terms of transferring money to people, to businesses, to friends, Starling's the one I'm using mostly, but I could be very happily be using Monzo as well. Quick hello to people who've just joined. Luke, Weezav, Heidi, Odan, EC. We've got just a couple of minutes left now, but you're welcome to lurk and hear what other people questions. Just finishing up the ones that I've got still to go. Max has said, do you put most of your assets expenses under a private limited company? Yes, I run a limited company. That's how I work. I was a freelancer for a while. I was employed and a freelancer, and then I set up a limited company for everything I do now. So if it's a work expense, it's obviously comes out of the work business. Now, if you were a sole trader, then things work very differently in terms of how you do it. And if the question is what's best, sole trader versus limited company, again, that's very bespoke to individuals, and it might be one for a video or article another time. Lowell Rasta's asked, what are my thoughts on P2P lending? Are they safe? E.g. LoanPad. Now, I don't know LoanPad. My thoughts on peer-to-peer lending is that particularly over the last year, it's been very difficult with lots of companies for people to get their money out of these peer-to-peer lending companies. Obviously, the rate is never guaranteed. I personally, it's not something I've ever bothered with. I think you have your cash savings, which is available to you in the best easy access accounts. If you've got anything more than that covers your emergency savings, then probably better looking at sort of longer term investments. But again, I haven't done a huge amount on them. I've generally sort of stayed clear because they've not been great for me. Yassine's come back. So Yassine's asked, keeps narrowing down the question about what's the best bank. What's the best bank between Barclays, Halifax and Lloyd's? Again, it's a really difficult question in terms of, for lots and lots of reasons. Look at it ethically. I'm sure none of them are particularly good, but Barclays has been one of the ones, along with HSBC, that's been highlighted quite a lot over recent months for practices which potentially aren't so great, whether that's money laundering or whether that's investing in things that you might not like, fossil fuels, arms deals, things like that, arms trade. In terms of the offers that they give, I think Halifax is the best one of those three, the monthly rewards. In terms of the app, they're all actually not too bad. Both of them have decent functionality. You can see track some of your spending, some sort of budgeting. You can pay in checks with all of them. I mean, I would say if is one of them nearer to your home, do you need a branch if you want to pick between those ones? In terms of incentives though, joining incentives, you're more likely to get a switching bonus from Halifax or Lloyd's than you are from Barclays. So Adam said, do I have a Hargreaves Lansdowne Stocks and Shares ISA? No, I don't. Francis, how do you make the most of Monzo rounding up when you use your credit cards? I use Amex to make my purchases and move my money over in an Amex pots, but I can't benefit from the rounding up unless I move it. Yeah, so this might be something that you potentially have to sacrifice from the rounding up side of things. There are other alternatives to help you automatically save. And if you're using Monzo, have a look at something called Ifttt, if this then that. I've got a video on my YouTube channel that you can look at this. And it's really smart. You can set up all sorts of rules that mean that, let's say it rains. You connect it via a weather app to your Monzo account. It rains, you move 50p, £5, whatever it is, to your Monzo pot. You can do it on geotagging. So let's say you walk into a certain shop or something you shouldn't be doing. You could punish yourself, tax yourself every time you go into a McDonald's, right? You can do the same thing. So I would maybe look at that as an alternative to roundups. You're still going to automatically boost your savings pots. Kian's asked on YouTube, do I do the self-assessment tax form or do I have an accountant? I do my self-assessment tax return myself, and this is a really good time to do it. At the start of the financial year, if you have to do a self-assessment form, do it now, because if you do wait till January, you'd have forgotten so much of what's been going on. So that's well worth thinking about. What else we've got going on? Hi to Bron, hi to IBB. We're just rounding up now. Question from Vivaz, do you have an opinion on Tandem? I do have some opinions on Tandem. I assume you're talking about savings because they stopped their credit card a while ago. So now I do savings. That offers, I think, does have a 0.4% saving account as well. Yeah, why not? If you want to choose that one, I think it's a green saver as well, which might be worth investigating. Obviously, it's variable. The rate can change. But I had a credit card with Tandem, a cashback credit card with them for a good long time until they stopped it. I never had any problems. Again, you're generally going to have that. It's got that FSCS, that financial services protection we mentioned before, so your money will be safe and will be secure. I think that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much. That was loads of questions. I really, really hope I managed to get everything. Apologies if I did miss anything. Thank you to everyone who's thanking me. I mean, hey, I'm here for all of you. So, thank you for asking your questions and watching and just supporting everything I do. Quick reminder that I have a newsletter that comes out every single Thursday. Sign up to that one, becleverwithyourcash.com/newsletter, and you will get everything I do. So if you're a YouTube follower, you'll hear about the blog. If you listen to the podcast, then you'll see what's going on the blog, and all round vice versa. Plus, if you've never used the cashback site Quidco, I've got an exclusive link for new Quidco customers. Give you a £17 bonus when you sign up to Quidco and spend £10 via one of the many retailers they've got there, from ASOS to M&S to BT or whoever it might be. You cannot beat that as a welcome bonus. So I'm very lucky to have that promo for all of you guys. You'll get that when you sign up in your first email. Have a good weekend. Hope this is the last weekend, isn't it, before things slowly start to sort of open up a little bit more. You can hit the shops and stuff next week, so maybe we can talk about that one again next week. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a good rest of the evening.